Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 2:01 p.m. Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan? Here. Councilmember Dickinson? Here. Councilmember Plucky-Baum will be absent today. Councilmember Maple? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra is expected momentarily. Councilmember Jennings? Here. Councilmember Vang? Here. Mayor McCarty is expected momentarily. And Vice Mayor Talamantes?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Dickinson, will you please lead us in the land acknowledgement and Pledge of Allegiance?
Please rise as you are able. For the opening acknowledgments in honor of the Sacramento indigenous peoples and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu Valley and Plains Miwok, Patwin, Winton peoples, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather together today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous people's history, contribution, and lives. And if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And today we have any reports out from closed session? Okay, thank you so much. And today we have two special presentations, starting with Councilmember Vang on National Customer Service Week.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Talamantes. As we kick off National Customer Service Week, it's October 6th through the 10th, I want to take a moment to recognize one of our city's most essential team, the 311 Contact Center. This year, yes, round of applause. This year, our District 8 team had the opportunity to visit the 311 call center in person, and we saw firsthand the dedication and professionalism of the people who are literally the backbone of city services and customer service here in our city. And so I really wanted to take this opportunity to thank Ivan, our 311 manager, and the entire 311 team for your heart and hustle. You know, every day this team of 40 plus city staff works incredibly hard to report issues and help our residents navigate city services and get the information that they need. And so oftentimes they are the first and sometimes only human connection that resident has with local government. And so really just want to take this moment to center them and to say thank you for everything y'all do day in and day out. Some highlights that I just want to share, you know, in the 2024-2025 data, they've been able to reduce wait time from 12 minutes to 3 minutes. They've have a total requests of service received and processed by 311 over 500,000 cases. And this year, they've handled more than 24,000 additional calls compared to the previous years. And so really just want to take this moment to say thank you for your service and thank you for everything that y'all do to keep the city running and being a resources for the thousands and thousands of residents in our city that relies on us. So just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I don't know if Ivan is, if the team is here. Love you to come up and say a few words.
Welcome.
Council, it's an honor to be recognized on Customer Service Week. I've had the privilege of managing the 311 Contact Center for 7 years tomorrow, and honestly, all the credit goes to my team, and every single one of them play a critical role in everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, there's more to come. We're going to continue to be dedicated to our customers and committed to continually improving. So there's more work to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a photo.
You want pictures taken? Yeah. We got you. Yes, of course.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else want pictures taken? Pictures taken, I can take it with your phones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm more of a outside the fray kind of guy.
Just squeeze in a little more.
Good to see you, man.
Councilman Jennings, can I have you send it to Councilman Dickinson in the back just a little bit to even it out? Thank you, sir.
If you have signs in the back, can you put them up in the back too? Signs? Oh, never mind. You're good. Yeah, perfect.
Lainey,
Oh, good, Lainey.
This way.
Yes. Perfect. All right, I'll take a couple already. 1, 2, 3. Say 3-1-1 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Evan. Great to meet you in person. Yeah, thank you. This is your phone. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
And next up, we have Councilmember Kaplan for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. As many of you know, October is the beginning of breast cancer and breast awareness month, because we really do every year, we can't take for granted while we've been having this campaign that people remember. And it is so important that we continue to educate, promote early detection, and support those affected by the disease. As I've mentioned, this happened personally to my family, and I lost my Aunt Andrea after about a 5-year battle with breast cancer while my cousins were just 12 and 17. So it's something I take very seriously. As we know, 1 in 8 women in the United States and 1 in 726 men will actually develop invasive breast cancer. There is truly not enough we can do to promote, encourage, and raise awareness. So today with me, they've been introduced before, but I think it's a reminder. We have I'll Be Aware, that was created in the memory of Alberta Albie Carson, who passed away in 2004 from breast cancer. And really what's more important is while many of us may have health care, there are many who do not, and many who have a high rate of positive detection in our community that need the support to get the screening done. And I'll Be Aware does above and beyond in helping those in our communities that need that help. So at this time, I would like to welcome Doug Carson up to say a couple of words. Thanks, Doug.
We really appreciate this opportunity, and what you said was very, very nice. And what I thought I might do is just to give you one example of what we do. I have a list here of stories I'm going to leave behind of some of the things that, the services that we provide. And I'm going to read this story, and the name I'm going to give is fake, but the story is absolutely true. We protect our clients' privacy. The lady's name was Tammy. She was 54 years old. Tammy was a breast cancer survivor and a small business owner who discovered a large lump in one of her breasts while she was in the process of getting health insurance. Needing an urgent biopsy she couldn't afford, she turned to I'll Be Aware. We covered the full cost of her biopsy at a discounted rate, saving her $3,000 out of pocket. Tammy was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I'll Be Aware worked with Tammy's medical team to ensure she was able to enroll in an insurance plan to cover her treatment costs. Later, we sent her a care package, which she said truly lifted her spirits during a very difficult time. That's just one of many instances that we provide, and we really appreciate your recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. I'd like for you to come down and council if you would like to join me as well in recognizing October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Would you like us to take a photo with your phone?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So Mayor, we now move to the consent calendar. I have one member of the public signed up to speak on this item. Do council members have comments, questions, or wish to pull any items? Councilmember Maple?
Hi, comments on item 4 and 10, please.
Councilmember Dickinson?
Item 7, I have a comment.
Councilmember Kaplan?
Item 17.
Let's go back to Councilmember Maple on item 4.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you, Mayor. I just want to say I'm thrilled this is about testing for sexual assault examinations. This is never an easy topic to talk about, but I just really want to applaud the staff and the work from the police department to make this a priority and getting the funding that we need to make this happen and the resources, because we know it's really important. Anyone who has something horrific happen to them, who needs to have a kit that's tested, we want to make sure it happens expeditiously and that it's done in the right way. And so just want to really appreciate the staff for their work on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Dickinson on item 7.
Actually, a small error, 6. I'll
6, please.
I can make it on 7, but it's going to be about 6, so.
Thank you.
Either way. I just wanted to note how excited we are in District 2, in North Sacramento in particular. I am personally very excited to see this item reach us finally. It's been a long time coming to get the renovations of the old News and Review building done on Del Paso Boulevard to become the newest branch of our public library authority system, replacing the existing long since surpassed branch on Del Paso Boulevard, and offering many more services, meeting space for community members, and many more resources. So I'm delighted to see this before us today, and I only have one request, that it get done and open before the end of 2026.
Thank you. Back to Councilmember Maple on item 10.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. So this item, item 10, is the city donating a surplus portable to Hollywood Park Elementary. You might say, this is not a big deal, but I think it really shows the importance of collaboration and cooperation between jurisdictions. We have something that the school needs, and that we are working in partnership to make it happen. So while it may be small, it means a lot to the young people at Hollywood Park Elementary. So just thank you.
Councilmember Kaplan on item 17.
Thank you. I just want to call out that This traffic safety selective traffic enforcement program, or called STEP, the city has received the grant for the past 20 years, and it's a little grant but has a big impact because this really helps with our DUI checkpoints, the enforcement of sideshows, pedestrian safety, enforcement in traffic and other areas where it makes our community just a little bit safer, and so I just wanted to call it out as a thank you.
I'll move the consent item.
Okay,
And I do have comments by Mayor Pro Tem Guerra on 17 also.
Great, thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I just wanted to echo the comments by Councilmember Kaplan about this grant and the ability to address some of the sideshows and street takeovers, and particularly on the DUI side. We had another unfortunate incident where an individual under the influence drove into the lawn of a neighboring place right near Talek Village, where we have now a lot of folks biking every day, and so I think to be able to make sure that we continue those safety efforts is important. So thank you.
Thank you. I have one speaker, Henry Harry, on item 15.
Thank you, members of the council. I want to speak on item 15, and I want to be careful that I'm not talking about the issuance of the money, but rather this the technical issue that you guys are talking about. It's important that we know that the money is coming from the general fund versus Measure U funds. That's important to you guys, for people to know. It's important for me, and I think citizens, to know that in the chart regarding this adjustment, it says that this money is a one-time payment, I think, of $500,000 for the fuel program, which, correct me if I'm wrong, goes toward the services of illegal immigrants. And again, I'm not trying to spark a debate there. I believe that that $500,000 is part of a larger payment to fuel, but that doesn't come across clear in the document because it refers to it as a one-time payment. And I am simply saying to you guys, as I've been here before, saying there should be clarity on the spending of some of this money. I am simply saying that with regards to that fuel payment, it should, something should be added to say that the $500,000 is part or 1/3 of a larger contract that totals XYZ. And in this case, I think it might be 1.5 million. But again, if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, you have a motion by Councilmember Dickinson and a second by Vice Mayor Talamantes.
okay. Motion is second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Passed 8-0.
Thank you. We now move on to public hearings. Item number 20 is Donner Field Senior Apartments Project, Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act, TEFRA hearing and approval of the Housing Authority of the City of Sacramento issuance of tax-exempt bonds, obligations for the Donner Field Senior Apartments in the amount of $30 million, approval of construction and permanent loan documents with Donner Field Senior LP in the amount of $13.71 million in home, HOPWA, MHSA, and city general funds and seller carryback funds, authorize the issuance of multifamily mortgage revenue bonds in the amount not to exceed $30 million for the financing of the project.
Oh, that was a long title. Maybe I don't need to do a presentation. Right? Good afternoon, Christine Weikert, SHRA. Today is a TEFRA hearing and approval of the final funding documents for Donner Field Apartments. You've previously approved approximately $11 million in home, HOPWA, and city funds, along with the disposition of the Housing Authority-owned land for the project. In addition, the Board of Supervisors approved $2.6 million of Mental Health Services Act funds. As you may recall, the project is new construction development on 9th Avenue near Stockton Boulevard. It's comprised of 67 1- and 2-bedroom units for seniors at or below 50% of area median income. One unit will be reserved for a on-site manager, and amenities include a community building, computer room, kitchen, barbecue area, and community garden. There'll be 17 project-based voucher units restricted to formerly homeless MHSA clients, and case management for those residents will be provided by the county. Resident services and property management will be provided by Eden Housing, and the project is scheduled to close on financing later this month, and construction begins shortly thereafter. And closing staff's requesting approval of the final funding documents for Donner Field Senior Apartments, and we're available to answer any questions you have.
Mayor Maple.
Well, I don't know if there's any public comment on this item.
There's no public
There's
comment.
no public comment on that. I'm happy to move the item. This is a great project. I won't belabor it but the amount of work and time and energy that's gone into making this a reality is astronomical. And it would not have happened if not for the wonderful staff at SHRA and leadership. And just want to thank you for sticking by it for many, 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 many years. And so hopefully it will be a reality soon. Thank you.
And Councilmember Maple, does that include opening and closing the
That
public
does
hearing?
include opening and closing the public hearing and moving the item. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you. I think the Councilmember Dickinson already seconded here, but one, I'm glad to see that this is moving forward. Appreciate actually moving in this direction. When we looked at this property in Donner Field, I think it might have been 2016 now or 2015, it was about identifying all of the vacant parcels because SHRA had a number of vacant parcels and they frankly had become blighted and it was difficult to maintain and manage so many. So obviously going to support the item. It's almost 10 years to get to this point from when we surplus the property, but I'd like to know kind of where we are on all the rest of the surplus property. So if SHRA could come back to see what else is still out there. I know that for a big chunk of them, we did a big RFI, I think it was a while back ago, and we had some takers. But at a later hearing, when appropriate, I'd like to get an update on where we are on that. And I am glad to say that Donner Field at first was supposed to be part of a mixture of the 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue projects, which if you drive down Stockton Boulevard and Colonial Theater, those are in construction. So it'll be nice to see all of these three parcels going up, hopefully, at the same time, really changing the feel of that area. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Dickinson.
I have to say, thank you, Mayor. I reflexively seconded this because this project goes back so far that it spans a lot of us who represented this area. But you know what? I'd be happy to withdraw my second in favor of you making that second if you would like, Councilmember Guerra.
Oh, no, either way. I'm glad to second it as well. So.
Okay.
Second and a third.
We have a motion and a second. I've just been waiting for this for a long time, too. I know we chose other potential projects years ago, and it didn't come to fruition, but here we are, and look forward to getting a tractor out there, a shovel, whatever it takes. So let's get at it. Yes. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, passes 8-0.
We now move on to the discussion calendar. Item 21 is adoption of the fiscal year 26-27 budget development policy and to provide direction on 2-year budget process and council amendments best practices.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, members of the public. I'm Pete Coletto, the city's finance director, and I know it seems like we just passed the fiscal year 26 budget, but we are already starting to develop the fiscal year 27 budget. So this chart looks familiar to all of you. This is the most recent general fund forecast based on the budget that you approved last June. As you can see, we're still in structural deficit. We are anticipating needing to close a significant fiscal year 26-27 budget gap. Again, but council has made, we've made progress on fixing our structural problem. Just kind of as context, back in February, that fiscal year 27 budget gap was almost $100 million. So the ongoing strategies you adopted as part of the budget this year have made an impact, but we still have farther to go. So this is just the charter guidelines around the budget, and really we want to have one centralized budget process run out of the city manager's office. So for fiscal year 26-27, We're really looking to do a similar process as the past 2 fiscal years. We're going to ask all of the departments to provide reduction options totaling 15% of their net general fund usage. This is to give us more options than we need to close the budget gap and allow council to choose from those options. Again, we'll be publishing everything, both what staff chooses to balance and doesn't, so that council and the public are aware of kind of the universe of choices. And again, budget reduction strategies, we really want to minimize to the extent we can service impacts on the public, and we need everyone to follow our timelines and guidelines. So during this past year's budget adoption, we were requested to go back to Budget and Audit Committee with some options around a 2-year budget for council. So we do have some system limitations that limit our ability to adopt a true 2-year budget like some other cities do. Oakland does, for example. However, there are some policy options that council could adopt that really get you to that same policy place, because that 2-year budget is really about, hey, we want to cure more of our structural budget deficit. So we brought 3 options to Budget and Audit. And the first is, in our 5-year forecast, we would entirely balance the year after the budget year. So that means the fiscal year 27-28 forecast, when you adopt the budget, could not have a budget deficit. The second option would be setting a maximum percentage size for a budget deficit in fiscal year 27-28. And option 3 would be we just continue our current practice, focus on the coming budget year, and not have a target for fiscal year 27-28. So the committee gave us some direction. So they wanted to proceed with the strategy for all departments to participate in the central budget process, following the guidelines from the budget division. To the extent possible, for council member budget proposals, to present them in writing and as early in the process as possible, so that we as staff can give you analysis of the proposals and everyone is clear on what they are, while maintaining the flexibility for council members if they have a great idea or hear something from the public to propose something. And then to bring council some options for deficit tolerance in the year following the budget year. So we wanted to put some numbers to this, really to give council a sense of, if you did go with a percentage, if you went with option 2 and chose a percentage, what would that look like based on our current forecast of spending? So if you were to say, hey, a 1% maximum deficit tolerance in budget year +1, that means in the forecast you could have a maximum deficit in fiscal year 28 of $9.2 million. If you went up to 5%, it would be $45.8 million. And really, this is a policy call for council. It's that trade-off between flexibility and addressing more of the structural budget deficit. There were some other items that we discussed, and we just want to make council aware. So I think council has heard from the Measure U Commission over many years about their challenges and feeling like their voice gets heard in the budget process. And a lot of that is just due to timing. So we released the budget at the end of April. We're having hearings in May. That's when they're having their meeting. And so what we've discussed with the commission is for them to give us some of their priorities on the front end. And that will allow city staff, when we're developing reduction plans, to have their input and what their priorities are, and to take that into consideration in our development of reduction planning. The departmental presentations, I know in past years it's been, hey, here's all the things we're doing. This year we wanted to be much more fiscally focused and to focus more on the potential impacts to operations. And then the budget survey, so we wanted to incorporate, we have some questions in there around council priorities. We wanted to incorporate the information from your priority setting workshop that you had on the 30th. And so we're updating the survey, we're working on translation, and we're expecting to release that later this month. And we're planning on having that open longer than in last year. We heard from people who thought that the window was too short, so we'll probably be closing it mid to late January. And with that, that's our presentation. And really what we're looking for is some council direction around it. if council wants to set a deficit tolerance for budget year +1, and if so, what would that be? And we're happy to answer any questions.
And Mayor, I have no speakers signed up for this item.
Okay, Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks, Mayor. Between the staff report and Pete's presentation, I think he has nicely summarized what the discussion at the Budget and Audit Committee was. It was a lively discussion. I just want to underscore a few points that he made, but I think are important to give emphasis to. The first is that the committee believes that all departments, including our charter and direct reports, charter officers and direct reports, are part of the budget process. This needs to be something, a process that everybody is involved in. Secondly, with respect to council member proposals regarding the budget, well, was proposed as Pete outlined, and the staff report notes, to set a marker for that. The committee members felt that the budget process is a dynamic one. We don't want to foreclose the opportunity for members to make suggestions at any point in the process, but we certainly want to encourage any proposals be made early and in writing so that the staff has a sufficient opportunity to fully analyze those proposals. But if someone comes up with the magic answer at the 11th hour, then it's something we felt shouldn't be foreclosed. Thirdly, with respect to the two-year budget, one, because of the technical challenges of producing a full two-year budget, and secondly, because of related considerations, the committee felt that was not practical. And I don't know if the council wants to set a deficit percentage or not. We didn't really discuss that aspect of this at the committee level. But for my own part, I only say I think that margin needs to be enough to have a fair amount of flexibility in it. If you try to slice this too finely, I think it'll be more problematic actually than helpful. We also talked about making sure to the maximum extent possible that our boards and commissions, particularly Measure U Commission, have a timely opportunity to raise its issues and ask its questions regarding the budget. And the calendar has been calibrated to do that for the coming year, and I appreciate the staff doing that. And then finally, I would only say, and I think everyone believes a survey should be done, but I will only say for my own part, I think the survey is of frankly very limited value, and so I feel as though we can't rely too much on the survey for giving us the kind of input. Now, obviously, we all get input every day. We talk to our constituents, we talk to organizations and groups. And whether there should be another formal instrument or not, I'm not suggesting that necessarily, but I do think we have to look at multiple methods of getting input from the public with respect to the development of the budget. So that's, I think, if I've missed something, one of the other members hopefully will add that into my comments, but that's what we talked about at the committee.
Okay, Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. And I listened into the Budget and Audit Committee discussion, and as many of you know, I've been asking for a version of the city looking at a two-year budget since I've gotten on city council. I think what I want to do is kind of frame it for council members of my thought process and then how I think it can align to the city. I'm not actually looking for we come once every other year to your budget process. The budget is a living document. It is analogous to when you look at school districts. School districts have it a little bit more stringent because I've got to do 3-year with a 3% reserve on this third year. I'm not asking that for the city. I'm saying when we just approve a 1-year budget and we start with a deficit, it allows too much It doesn't set certainty for our employees, for our community. So what I'd like to see is that when I say 2-year budget process, we adopt and we know year 1 is balanced. And year 2, I'd like to say we're within maybe 2 to 3% of being balanced if we are in a potential deficit. Because as budgets are living documents, you can look at it every 3 months, and we have funding swings up and down, and there's always the reconciliation. So there is always going to be potentially a $20 to $30 million swing. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think what I am trying to do with a 2-year budget is it allows us to address our long-term goals. It allows us to really look at our infrastructure needs, what we're not funding. It allows us to do resource management, and then it allows stability. So when we approve a 2-year budget that is within 2 to 3% of balanced, we're saying we're funding like the fuel network for 2 years. We're funding this project for 2 years. So that gives the community and others a sense of stability. Because right now there isn't that stability, and there's so much volatility in the federal government. And we know property taxes, there is a certain amount of predictability in the money that comes in with our sales tax. You know, Pete, you've done an amazing job because they know for the most part what's coming in with a certain amount. And I always say budget conservatively, and if we get more money, yay. But if we look at it as a 2-year and we balance our budget, trying to balance the second year, it does nothing but give us that certainty, because then we can have those conversations with all of our employees of which programs are going to be maintained, which ones aren't. And then as we just did our planning with the new city manager and the council coming together of what are our priorities, overarching it is, you know, our financial management, but we can focus in a budget, say, okay, every 2 years, we should come back and look at what are our top 3 priorities. And that helps us focus and build our budget based off of those priorities, and we can kind of hold ourselves accountable so we don't creep into other things, but let's look at it a 2-year, but still giving a sense of flexibility. So I'm of mind, you know, definitely like looking at option 2, because budgets are living documents. It's not saying we can't change anything. Of course, mid-year you can come back. If there's some wild swing, it changes. But if you pass the framework of a 2-year, it sets some stability for our employees, for all the organizations we fund, but also is forcing us to make hard decisions so that we don't continue to carry a long-term structural deficit, because that is, we are doing cuts by, you know, 1,000 deaths of just a little bit here and there, and not truly addressing how do we have a stable budget, as we then can, it helps us in negotiations because we know what our long-term, you know, budget health is. So I'm hoping we can do this because it goes along with the community planning workshop that we just had last week and gets us toward those next steps, especially in line of the top 3 items we were looking at and asking for fiscal stability. So thank you. And then I agree, Councilmember Dickinson, I think the survey is important, but also alternate modes, whatnot. I wouldn't want to just get rid of it because a certain amount of people like it.
Yeah, we view the survey, we're not pollsters, and we're not getting a scientific sample, and so we view it more as a engagement and outreach and education tool to try to give some folks who may not be, you know, as plugged into the city's budget process, kind of a easy entryway. So that's how we view it, and you know, we hope that it does provide us some useful information. But yeah, it's definitely not you know, a scientific poll. We don't know how to do those. So.
What? Not one more thing to add to your list, Pete? But that's all I have. I look forward to hearing the opinions of my colleagues.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to thank our chair because he really, I think, summarized a big feeling of the committee, and I thought it was a very thoughtful discussion about how we should move forward, given some of the concerns that Councilmember Kaplan has brought forward about how do we look at some true projections? And I think it's aspirational, but one thing that I do make sure we do not get into a situation is where the school district scenarios where their rigidness requires layoff memos to be sent out during the budget process, even though they think, yeah, I know, but it's a state law, right? It's not our law, but it is because of the rigidness. So to that point, I think it's aspirational and helps us plan. I do want to recognize, though, that the budget staff is doing those assumptions already. I think we are in all of our iterations, they're taking into account a lot of the long-range planning assumptions, and those are, I think, important at the adoption point of the budget to be highlighted again. Like, we discussed them as we developed the budget, but to Councilmember Kaplan's point, you start the next year off in a deficit. So I think that, sometimes passing a budget is celebratory, but I don't think it should be. I think it should be, hey, we got this done. We have to be prospective of what's the work ahead of us. So I do want to thank Councilmember, our Vice Mayor Talemates, for guiding us in the prudent direction, which is, I think, option number 2, which is proving a budget and then looking at a deficit percentage. I think it is too early to say whether a 2%, 1%, 3%, is the right number. If you were to say 3% rounding up, it's about 30 million. Like, that's a big fish or what's the analogy? I'm not gonna go through figure out what the right analogy is, but that's a big one to take on immediately. But I think that's a good start for us because just technology-wise, we aren't capable of doing that to your budget. So, and I don't know if I would support at this moment spending $25 million immediately to update all of our technology. We will have to at some point. I joked earlier whether we were using DOS or Unix or Lotus 1-2-3. That's where I learned my spreadsheets. But to that point, I think it's finding when we would want to do that. So. Finally, I would say on the council amendment component, completely, if we can help the staff at least get information and cost out ideas or concerns, appropriate. Let's make some practices, but I would be opposed to any kind of policy that restricts a representative of a district to highlight a concern that's been brought up during the hearing process. That's why we have a hearing process. Even on the final budget adoption, you have the ability for someone to come to the dais and say, I don't agree with that and I want to do that. And if a council member thinks that that's the right amendment to make at that point, while I'm not a big fan of last-minute budget night amendments, I think that's still the appropriate authority for the council to do so. So to that point, I think we found a nice guidance, but and that's, to my colleagues, that's, I think, the direction I would go. Thank you.
Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks. I just want to follow up on this issue of setting the percentage. If we adopt this as a methodological approach, I do also agree. I think it's premature to specify the percentage, and it seems to me that once we start to get into the process, shortly, I assume after the start of the year, if not in December, I can't remember the schedule exactly, but as you start to look with finer level of detail at what the departments are telling you, we know we're have a starting place, which is what the departments offered up last year. But I'm sure there will be some modification then. Maybe that is a more opportune time to decide what the percentage would be. It does seem to me a little bit that if we try to do it now, shooting to a certain extent in the dark. And if your projections, if we follow those for 27, 28, you're talking about a $70 million gap. If you pick even 5%, you're at 40, I'm not looking at, but 45-ish. That means you're going to cut 35 coming in, I assume is the way that would work.
So I think, one of the kind of nuances is the decisions you make to reduce for budget year. If they're ongoing, they're also going to be ongoing reductions in budget year +1.
Sure.
But what I can say, maybe I can say what I'm hearing, and council can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But what I'm hearing is, aspirationally, let's look at seeing what ongoing we can do, and then we can have a conversation, maybe at mid-year on whether or not council wants to adopt a formal target for budget year +1 or not.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense to me, because I think we'll have a better idea at that point of what we're really working with from a dollars and cents point of view. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Vang.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to take this time to thank our budget chair and the Budget and Audit Committee for their work to bring this forth. And thank you, Chair, for your thoughtfulness. You're absolutely right. I think a budget process is a dynamic one, and we want to encourage as much involvement from all of our colleagues and the public. And I also appreciate you uplifting, ensuring that the budget calibrates with our boards and a commission, Measure U in particular, to make sure that we're not going to our commission after we've already decided what we're going to budget for. So really want to say thank you for your intentionality on that. And I also just wanted to add, while a survey may not be valuable to Councilmember Dickinson, I would say yes, it's invaluable if we actually don't use it, because I would say that we do actually I use the survey. I think it is very informative in terms of those that are completing the survey and what they want to see in terms of budget priorities. I know that we're out in the community most of the time, so we do hear what those priorities are too. So there's numerous mediums that we use, but I think the survey is still incredibly important if folks are not able to attend our council meetings. The only question, more of questions and thoughts, if we go with option 2, if we went with the 2-year budget option 2, because I see we have 3 options in front of us, I think I understand the determining the maximum percentage deficit for the 2nd-year budget. I know we haven't determined that yet, but that's going to come back to budget and audit. I'm curious, and maybe this is just a thought process, and Chair, you can think about this, is that if we go with option 2, and when we determine the maximum percentage for the 2nd-year budget, I think it's important just to ask the question if that deficit cap is based on the totality of our general budget or by department. And I share that because if we set a deficit cap just for the general budget, which I think that's where it may go, but wanted to put this on the table. What I'm worried about is that the deficit cap would be met by cutting and eliminating parks and like 311, for example, right? And so something that we may want to think about, because I know the majority of our budget is made of PD and fire, is to, as we're having that conversation, to think about that, because even if we have a deficit cap, I'm really concerned that our parks and our 311 services, those are the first thing to go. And so I think it's important for us to look at the totality of that. And so just wanted to bring that up, because I think that those are some real unintended consequences that can happen when we set the deficit and we're not particular about how we set the deficit cap. And so just wanted to share that with my colleagues as well, to think through that piece, to make sure that, our parks and 311 aren't kind of eating up the deficit cap, right? And so, yeah, but I do appreciate, us looking at, budgeting differently and looking at 2-year. I think that it's important for us to forecast. Although I would also agree with Mayor Pro Tem Guerra that we're kind of doing that every year anyways. Pete, you come to us and you let us know what our projections are. And so it seems like city staff is already doing that work. But we always want to budget better. So I would support option 2 on the table, and just being very mindful of the ways in which we create the deficit cap, because again, I'm worried that it's going to be some of our park services that are going to be cut. So I just wanted to mention that. And then the other piece I wanted to make an ask is, if we went with option 2, I'm assuming that the amendments to budget, for example, if there's like an urgent need, right? I think Mayor Pro Tem talked a little bit about how, compared to a 2-year school budget, right? What if there are urgent needs that come about? I'm assuming we just go through the budget process, and like mid-year we'll say, I see Lainey nodding her head, so we'll make that proposal. I just want to make sure that there's still ample opportunity for council members to chime in, and that it's not completely fixed, because we know that there are urgent needs that may arise, and so I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on if council wanted to adopt a policy for budget year +1, it would depend what council wanted to adopt. But yeah, to the extent that there's an urgent need, council can always amend the budget really any Tuesday. But, similarly, like, remember this past mid-year, we had some critical facilities issues for our 911 center. And so at mid-year, that was one of the adjustments that council made was, hey, we need to fix this. We can't have that building flood and no one be able to call emergency services.
Okay, thank you. Those are all my comments. Again, I think if we're looking at the deficit cap, really want to be thoughtful about how we do that, because I can see some unintended consequences that can happen from that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. City Manager?
Thank you. I just wanted to address one of your questions. I think what we're looking for is just an overall number. It is not department specific. Because if you remember when we went through the budget process last year, staff was hesitant and myself to simply sweep vacancies because we were looking at how we're going to operationalize whatever programs and services council determined would continue into the next year. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to staff that. So it really is program and service dependent based on council's priorities, and that's what we're going to bring you in a proposed budget, and then we can make adjustments to that as we go. So I think what I'm hearing is a motion that approves recommendations on policies, recommendations on best practices around amendments, right, with the goal of but flexibility, and then some version of a two-year budget with a amount and to be determined as maybe part of the mid-year process in January. So anybody want to move in?
I think that captures it pretty much, and I would make such a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilmember Guerra?
Nope, it was asked and answered.
Yeah. No, I just want to note that this is not a bad idea. I'm fine going down with it. I just will tell the council that you're going to have to make tough decisions. And so I know last year we wrangled back and forth and eliminated positions. There weren't any people who got pink slips. And if you do 2 year, that's ripping off the Band-Aid, proverbially. And so, it enables us to have a better long-term perspective, but there will be some tough questions and votes up here, so get ready. Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second.
Can I ask for clarification what the timeline is to come back? Would it be mid-year next year?
We literally kicked off budget this morning with all of our departments. So we will be back to you with our mid-year in late January, early February. And so that's when we would talk through this conversation again about tolerance in the second year and what you're looking for. And certainly as we move through the hearing process in the spring, we'll be back to you in February, March, or March, April with department presentations focusing on the impacts of the reduction scenarios that departments are bringing forward. So we're moving away from that operational focus and into here's this list and here's what it means. And you can then start to see where you cut the line on the list, what the impacts to a particular department would be.
Okay. We have a motion. We have it recorded. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none. Measure passes. Thank you.
Mayor, we now move to item 22, which is appointment of the interim city attorney and setting terms and conditions of employment. And I do have a read to the record. May I do that? Mm-hmm. So the city council is appointing Gustavo L. Martinez as interim city attorney. For the duration of the appointment, he will be paid $168.41. Pardon me, let me read that again. $168.41 an hour. He will receive all of the benefits of employment to which the city attorney is entitled, as set out in the city's personnel resolution covering unrepresented officers and employees. And I have no public comments on this item.
Okay. Councilmember Talamantes.
Just want to make a motion to move this item and welcome Gustavo as interim city attorney. Welcome to every single closed session, and I think I saw you walk back there, so we got to make sure we update your badge so you can go this way. But seriously, you have a lot of years here at the city of Sacramento. I see all the city attorneys here in the audience here to support you, and I think it shows a lot about your character and who you are and how you're going to lead the city in these next few months. Congratulations.
Okay. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to second the motion, and also just very proud of this opportunity. I know many of us had looked at our city attorney here, new interim city attorney, as our leadership, and have had the opportunity to work with him for, gosh, over 23 years now, I think it has been. And so it's both as a community member and as a council member. And so it's very exciting, very proud moment to see you here. And a great example for our community here in Sacramento, one of our own locals here. So thank you, congratulations.
Okay, thank you, congratulations.
Get there.
A motion is second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, passes 8-0. Thank you. Okay.
So Mayor, we now move to item 23, which is approval of the 2026 one-year action plan and amendment to the prior year's action plans for the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Home Investment Partnerships Program Home, Emergency Solutions Grant, ESG, and Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, HOPWA, funded projects and programs, amendment to prior year's action plans, amendment to the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, SHRA budget, execute documents for the administration of federal programs, authorize establishment of City of Sacramento revenue and expenditure budgets for CDBG, and authorize amendments to the SHRA Home Repair Program, HRP guidelines.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Green. I'm the Federal Programs Manager at SHRA, and today we'll be asking you to approve the 2026 Annual Action Plan for HUD Formula Program grants administered by SHRA on behalf of the city. As a reminder, we had 2 workshops during the year where we presented the estimated available funding for these grants, discussed eligible activities, and presented a draft project list. Today, we're asking you to approve the final list of activities for funding in 2026. As a high-level overview, in order to receive these entitlement funds from HUD, we're required to submit a consolidated plan every 5 years and an action plan annually. The current consolidated plan was adopted last year, and it identifies the goals which guide the one-year action plan priorities over the next 5 years. Then every year, HUD requires the city to approve an action plan which identifies funding resources and specific activities that will be undertaken to meet the goals identified in the consolidated plan. The 4 HUD formula grants administered by SHRA are Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, which can be used for infrastructure and public facilities projects, housing rehab and repair, public services, and grant planning and admin. The Home Investment Partnership Program, or HOME program, which is used for multifamily rehab and construction of affordable housing. Emergency Solutions Grant, or ESG, which is used to assist persons at risk of or experiencing homelessness through rapid rehousing and emergency shelters. And Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, which is used to provide rental assistance and services for people with HIV or AIDS and their families. Now, before I move on to what we recommend for funding in 2026, I want to provide an update on some accomplishments from 2025. A few infrastructure and public facility improvement projects that were completed this year include the North Point Park Improvements Project, which included some updates including a drinking fountain, picnic table, benches, and other site amenities. Mama Marks Park Splash Pad, the Wood Park Community Garden, and the Niños Park improvements, which included a basketball court, soccer field improvements, and other site amenities. For public services, we provide a variety of programs, and this slide provides an estimate of the number of people and households that we estimate will be served in 2025. These programs include meals to seniors through the Meals on Wheels program, homeless and housing assistance through our rapid rehousing activities, and our home repair programs through the SHRA Home Repair Program and Rebuilding Together. Now, looking forward to 2026, the next few slides will go over the estimated entitlements for the various funding sources, the proposed CDBG allocations by funding category, and the proposed infrastructure projects. This slide shows what we anticipate receiving from HUD for each funding source, and this is an estimate based on the previous year's allocations. These numbers also, they include entitlement funding as well as reprogrammed funds from previous year's capital reserve, as well as program income, which is income we received from past CDBG loans. Overall, we anticipate having approximately $11.2 million in funding from the city, for the city, I'm sorry. And this table shows an overview of the proposed CDBG allocations by category. So those categories include infrastructure and public facilities improvements, housing development and home ownership, which is allocated to multifamily rehab and home repairs for low to moderate income homeowners, public services, grant planning and admin, which is for staffing and fair housing activities, the HUD loan repayment, which is for the Section 108 loan for the infrastructure at Marisol Village, and then we always include a capital reserve line item in case any projects go over budget. Now, for the proposed infrastructure projects for 2026, we are recommending the Robla Community Park restroom, which is installation of a new restroom at Robla Park, the Earl Warren Park restroom, which is installation of a new restroom building at that park, and then the Mangan Park project, which is installation of ADA walkways. And this is reprogramming from a previous project approved last year at Argonaut Park to Mangan Park. In addition to the public facility projects, the infrastructure projects, the other two main categories we fund are housing activities and public services. For CDBG, we're proposing to fund Meals on Wheels, the home repair programs, fair housing activities, which is renters helpline and legal services, and public services at Capitol Park Hotel. For ESG, we're proposing to fund rapid rehousing. Home funds, we're proposing rehab and new construction of multifamily housing. And for HOPWA, we will be funding housing assistance, operations, case management, and supportive services. And as part of the action plan approval this year, we are also asking you to approve changes to SHRA's home repair program guidelines. This program is funded by both city and county CDBG and provides emergency home repair assistance to very low-income homeowner occupants of single-family homes and mobile homes to address urgent health and safety needs. Applications are currently accepted in the summer and winter, and to qualify for the program, the homeowner must be income qualified and the property must be owner-occupied and in need of a repair that meets these criteria. On the slide, you'll see the outcomes of the programs over the last 2 years. The reasons why some of these applications do not result in grants are because either the applicant does not live in the city or unincorporated county, the repairs are not eligible under the program, the applicant is over income, or there are insufficient funds remaining for that resident due to past work. To improve program accessibility, SHRA is requesting authorization to amend program guidelines to increase the maximum grant amount to $10,000 per property to cover cost increases, expand eligible accessibility improvements, and extend or expand the application window up to and including year-round availability as funding permits. These changes will enhance the program's responsiveness to community needs and ensure continued support to vulnerable homeowners. I also want to note that the city has a repair program called Justice for Neighbors Emergency Home Repair Pilot Program, which is a pilot program specifically for code enforcement violations, which received a one-time funding of $504,000. The funding for this program is almost depleted, and SHRA has ensured city staff that they can refer code enforcement violations to the SHRA Home Repair Program, and SHRA has also agreed to work with the city to explore opportunities to continue funding for their program as well. So we have staff available from both of those programs if you have any questions. And this concludes my presentation, and we're asking you to approve the 2026 action plan. I'm available for questions.
So Mayor, I have no speakers signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you very much, Mayor. First, thank you to SHRA staff there's a lot here to unpack. I know we've gone through this before. I do want to recognize and thank the focus on Earl Warren Park, and it's obviously suffered its fire earlier today. So in general, that park, I think, needs some more attention moving forward, but I'm glad that that's moving forward in District 6. But I'm very thankful to see I know that there's been a lot of focus over the last few years to look at Niños Parkway, and this particular recognition of funding Niños Parkway, I think, is important that it's in this funding round. And we've had discussions, and Councilmember Jennings and I, for a long time about the challenges that District 2 and North Sac face. And so seeing Mama Mark's Parks and North Point Park on the list, I think is the right thing to do. It's neither in our council districts, but it's the area that has had the least investments recently. So, with that, I am prepared to make a motion to move this forward, but I do have a few issues here. That one, there in the last 10 years on how we develop this, the requests and as they come here, I feel like there needs to be a better process for our staffs to work together. So I'm going to go ahead and move the item with one direction, and that's for SHRA to work with the city staff to create what I'm going to call a federal or HUD entitlement program committee, so that we can better get on the front end. And I know in the past I've felt frustrations when I've come in, and the decisions have kind of been made without what I think true input from the council. Yes, sometimes it comes to the dais, and then that's your only opportunity for presentation. But we work with our city staff generally on all of our different needs, and I think being able to get that done at the staff level early, I think, is going to help that collaboration between city staff. So that's my first point in direction. The second is I'd like to have SHRA work with our City of Sacramento code enforcement to ensure that the city's home repair program continues ongoing, at least for next year. And here's my largest concern I have in this item. When I looked here in, I think it was Exhibit A, if I'm looking at this correctly, in the staff report, about $250,000 goes into home repair funds, but about $150,000 of that is spent on administrative costs. That's on the SHRA county component of it. Flip side, on the city component, we don't spend any administrative costs. We use Habitat for Humanity, and we have a different program that looks at that. So when I look at a program where half of the dollars are being spent on 60% of it on administrative costs and 40% on actual construction, that sends a lot of alarm bells on whether we should review and look at how SHRA executes its program. Obviously, CDBG dollars for the city stay in the city, CDBG dollars in the county stay in the county, but it is it's always been concerned to me on those 2 points. And SHRA has had a good history now working with like Habitat for Humanity on a number of other programs, but I think it's healthy for us I want to highlight that component because it almost seems to me that we should try to get as much money out onto home repair and less on administrative than what we see here today. So, to Mayor, I guess the motion here that I want to reiterate, one is to move forward here with the action so that we can get this to the federal government, move the staff report. But one, create the entitlement program committee. Second, direct SHRA to work with our code enforcement to make sure that our city home repair program that doesn't cost 60% on administrative move forward. And then I think that we should return back and look at how we're looking at home repair programs. So I'm very, I do want to thank our city code team and how we've been able to modernize our code enforcement. So that's my motion, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. I just really want to thank the staff at SHRA and our city staff for working with our office on this too. I know we had some changes in the community about Argonaut Park, and being able to be nimble and make some of the changes and focus on Mangan Park is huge. I'll just say that Mangan Park is very much a working class community, and it's a part of our city that hasn't seen a level of investment as some other neighborhoods. And so this means a lot to them, being able to have an accessible walking path, and what it means to our seniors, to our young people, it's huge. And so just really I'm proud to support this. I listened to your motion, and I agree, I think, on the creation of a committee, so I'm happy to second it. And just thank you for all your work. I know that it's a consistent effort to work with the staff and to make sure that we prioritize projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I kind of want to echo what my colleagues had said. North Point Park has been an area not seen investment in decades, and so getting those park upgrades was much needed and appreciated by the community. And then I've been asking for the past couple of years, and I want to say thank you to my neighbor council colleague, Roger Dickinson. I think, Robla, it's on the border of my district and his district, and those residents deserve, as a community park, it's our policy that community parks have restrooms, and it's been a community park for over 20 years with no restrooms, and community members are paying for portables, so I think this is really an amazing investment in that. And then, something Councilmember Dickinson I have also talked about, where you look at Robla and North Sac, many of the streets don't have functioning sidewalks. So want to continue to advocate because, the one Austin Street Safe Routes was not funded this year, but I think if we can strategically look at especially certain streets that lead to our schools, if we can try and fund and find ways, at least having one side or the side where the school is, so that kids can safely be on a sidewalk, because there are a couple of schools that do not have sidewalks, and kids will be walking in the road with narrow streets and the cars to get to school. So hopefully that's something we can look into with fingers crossed that the federal funding continues to come through. So thank you.
Thanks. I would just second the comments of Councilmember Kaplan with respect to the restrooms for Robla Community Park, and hopefully that's a step in the direction of getting a community center or community clubhouse there one of these days. Before we've all left the scene to see that happen, and also, I mean, I certainly have to concur with the comment about sidewalks. They are desperately missing in so much of North Sacramento and including Robla, certainly. I did, and I'm appreciative of the restrooms being on the list. I did want to also express support for the points that Councilman Guerra made with respect to working together between the city and the agency staff regarding especially the home repair program, and seeing, I mean, I understand that the agency is working with a lot of federal requirements and restrictions, and despite the rhetoric of some who say they're going to cut and minimize regulation at the federal level, they seem to pile it on. So I'm appreciative of that point, but if we can get more out of the money we've got, I think we ought to take every opportunity to do that. If the motion hasn't been seconded, I will second the motion that Councilmember Gatto made, and just simply want to emphasize that, especially with the ESG program, I think it's an example of how we need to keep working at coordinating what we're doing across all the entities, the city, the agency, the county. Sacramento steps forward to make sure that the resources we've got to apply to homeless assistance we're making maximum use of and optimal use of. So it's easy to get caught up in one's own programs, and I saw the reference to working with Sacramento Steps Forward on ESG. I noted that. I'm happy to see it, but I think it's going to require us to elevate our efforts. And this is not solely for you all at the agency. This is for all of us. It seems to me it's just got to be a point of emphasis. Thanks.
You have a motion by Councilmember Guerra, a second by Maple, and we have no public comments on this item.
Okay. The motion is second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays or abstentions? Hearing none, measure passes 8-0.
So Mayor, we now move to council comments, ideas, questions, and AB 123 reports.
Councilmember Vang. Oh, yes, can we just take a quick time out? Mr. Shields? Yes. Congratulations. Yes.
Thank you.
There we go. That was it. No, yes, we just want to say thank you for 2 decades plus of service, and thank you for taking the assignment to help this organization move forward. Thank you.
Welcome, and whatever you all need, I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. I just have some council updates on events happening in District 8, and then wanted to share an incident that happened in the South area this past week. And so just a few items. Wanted to remind the community that we have a micro communities meeting regarding our planned homeless services, one of them being the micro community for seniors and also safe parking in District 8. This event is actually happening tomorrow at the Pinnell Community Center, 2450 Meadowview Road. It's from 6 to 7:30, and there will be light dinner provided. So make sure that you RSVP. can go to our social media, and there is also an email that will be sent out to all of our residents and trusted messengers. And then wanted to also share with all of you that we have a 4th annual Fall Craft and Fair Festival happening Saturday, October 11th from 9 to 3 at Jacinto Road, 8050. There is going to be bounce houses, photo booth, craft activities for kids, and so encouraging folks to come out to that. And then we also wanted to share that we have an upcoming movie night, so save the date for Kung Fu Panda 4. The movie night is happening next to the Pinnell Community Center at the Pinnell Community Park, Saturday, October 25th from 5 to 9. And then wanted to let everyone know that we have 3 more Sundays left of the Meadowview Certified Farmers Market this season. It's at 9 to 1 at the Meadowview Light Rail Station, so encouraging folks to come out to that. And then one last just announcement really quickly is I also want to take this moment to say happy birthday to our Director of Policy and Constituent Affairs, Susan. If you're watching this, have an amazing week, and thank you for all your heart and hustle. So those are some of the events that are happening in District 8. And then I just wanted to share an incident that happened last week in my district. The mayor is aware of this, and also our interim city manager as well. I had an opportunity to speak with her about this. But I wanted to share last Wednesday morning on October 1st, my office received multiple calls from South Sacramento residents in the Delta Shores neighborhood, alarmed by the sudden presence of 10 unmarked vehicles, black SUVs in their neighborhood. And out of deep concern, I did direct my staff to report the sighting to NorCal Resist, the NorCal Resist Sacramento hotline. And then I quickly left my meeting that morning to the location where residents reached out to us about where this incident was happening. When I arrived at the neighborhood in person, I saw 2 rows of unmarked black vehicles with several armed men coming out of one of the homes in tactical gear. Junior Goris, the president of the Delta Shores Neighborhood Association, was one of the residents that contacted us, and I spoke to him over the phone, and we were going to meet on site where residents saw the 10 SUVs. Both of us did approach the individuals, and I introduced myself as a council member, and I did request that they identify themselves, just given the fear in our communities. After I did that, I was surprised to learn that those black SUV, 10 of them actually belong to the Sacramento Police Department. And I want to share this memo that I sent to the interim city manager along with photos. After my staff reached out to the Sacramento Police Department, we wanted to confirm that this was actually true. And it was confirmed that their presence was actually a SWAT training exercise taking place in one of the model homes within the neighborhood. I'm sharing this because I think it's really important for our city to understand the context of where we're living in this moment. With the ICE raids happening at Home Depot on Florin, residents being kidnapped by ICE throughout our city, there is a real fear among our immigrant and refugee residents and families in Sacramento. And we've seen horrific instances of violence inflicted by ICE agents across this country. And for our residents, and even me, when I drove up and I saw the 10 unmarked black vehicles that did not have any indication of Sac PD, we thought it was ICE as well. And that morning, some of our residents chose not to leave their homes for work or to go to school, fearing that it was a possible ICE activity in the area. And I just want to share, especially because residents has reached out to me, that the decision to conduct this activity in one of our community, in one of our residential community, fundamentally really does hurt public safety and the trust for all of our residents, especially during this climate. I understand that, the importance of training exercises, but I just want to share that not a single resident or person in my office was made aware of the operation. And there is no justification for keeping this operation confidential from the surrounding community. Our residents deserve transparency, respect, and assurance that their safety won't be compromised. So I did send a memo to the interim city manager the same day, requesting a review of our protocols for police training in residential neighborhoods, and most importantly, to make sure that we establish communication channels to ensure that mayor and council and our residents are informed in advance. There were 4 requests in particular, and I wanted to share this with my colleagues, that I asked the interim city manager, and I'm asking the mayor and council to also join me in directing the interim city manager to ensure that the following happen. 1, to have a thorough review of Sacramento's police internal protocols for the location selection for police training in residential neighborhoods. 2, establish clear communication processes with the mayor and council and resident leaders in advance. 3, I did get a chance to speak to South Command as well, but I do believe that a formal apology from the Sacramento Police Department to our South Sac residents, in particular the Delta Shores community, who I know is connected to Sac PD and cares deeply about our police department and have a relationship. I do think that an apology from our police department to the neighborhood association is warranted. And then lastly, either a public report back in open session or a memo to the full council to review the actions to make sure that the city has responded to this and that we have process in place. I share this publicly because, 1, I will just be honest with you, I think oftentimes when incidents like this happen, we say as a city staff, I've heard from folks, I'm just sorry it happened, it won't happen again. But in this moment, we are living in really difficult times in this country. And we are a sanctuary city, and we talk a lot about supporting our undocumented, our residents, our immigrants, our refugees. And we have to make sure that we're not disconnected with what our families are facing on the ground. And for my office not to get notification or our neighborhood folks, our neighborhood association, to get a notification of what was going on did send fear throughout the community. And so I wanted to share this with my colleagues and in hopes that we do, reach out to the neighborhood association and apologize. And I do want a response back to make sure that we put processes in place that this doesn't happen again in the community. And so wanted to share that.
Thank you, Councilmember Vang. Noted, and I know we're following up on that as well to you and the rest of the council on some suggestions and policy in response. Councilmember Maple.
All right, thank you, Mayor. A couple things. 1, I want to invite the community out for this Sunday, October 12th, from 9 to 11 a.m. We're the Leadership Sacramento Class of 2025 is doing a community mural day unveiling. It's very exciting. It's a community mural and rock painting. So that's located at 3733 Broadway in Oak Park. And it'll be featuring our local muralist and artist, Nicole Alvarez. So please come out, say hi, enjoy some beverages, and see this beautiful new mural that that they are unveiling in Oak Park. And then the other thing I wanted to say is a lot of folks in the community may be aware of an incident that happened last night on the freeway where a helicopter crashed on our highway. And I just wanted to take a moment to give a special thank you to our first responders, to the fire department, and to the police department for showing up. It's really, I think, a miracle what happened there. And I know that there are still individuals that are in critical condition. I pray for their well-being. But I think it's amazing what happened. In particular, I want to shout out the residents, the people on the freeway who got out of their vehicles and assisted first responders and probably saved lives. And so I want to shout that out. I think this community really comes together and shows up when it matters, and this is a really great example of that. And I think the mayor will be touching on it, at either at the State of City or a little bit later. But I just was really, really proud. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a few things coming up in the north part of the city, the northeast part. We'll leave the northwest part to Councilmember Kaplan. This Saturday, October 11th, from noon to 6, in the parking lot at Sammy's Restaurant, which is 2021 Del Paso Boulevard, there will be a Sacramento Vision and Health Fair, which is a free community event. There'll be live performances by Una Maz and Roja, free haircuts provided by the Paul Mitchell School, free lunch while supplies last, pediatric dental screenings, toothbrush and toothpaste handouts from DentaQuest, plus a number of booths and resources, including Anthem Blue Cross, SMUD, Golden One, Utility Ratepayers Network, Turn, and others. So I hope anyone who wants to takes advantage of that. And we're not too far from the time of year when ghosts and goblins take over the universe. And in recognition of that, there's Hmong Youth and Parents United Trunk or Treat on October 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. at 631 Eleanor Avenue. Want to let everybody know about that. And that is a spooky event, let me tell you.
Ooh.
I've been there myself. And then, in fact, our very own Yipsy Parks is sponsoring a trick-or-treat event on October 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Hagenwood Community Center. So for those who are not getting enough candy in their diet, this is an opportunity to augment their supply and have a good time while they're at it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Maple, I too want to echo your comments in regards to the Good Samaritans. Last night, I joined Sacramento Sheriff pilots for one of their shifts in the helicopter to fly around Sacramento, which I'm not sure many of you are aware. This is shared between Sac PD and Sac Sheriff. Sheriff goes up for an hour and a half, Sac PD goes up for an hour and a half in the helicopter, and sometimes they slightly overlap. And I happened to have been up there with the pilots when we got the call that the helicopter had landed on Highway 50. And seeing it from up above, you get a different perspective. But I will tell you, being able to see Good Samaritans on the freeway, people trying to assist and move over because the freeway, as you know, got quickly blocked both ways to allow fire department, ambulances, cops, everybody, all hands on deck. But knowing that there were not enough firefighters there right away, Good Samaritans stepped in and were able to lift the helicopter off of a victim who was trapped to get them to the hospital. So I really just want to thank the Good Samaritans, but also I want to thank the pilots because, that's something they do every day. And every day is not a given. And they both were, I need to get a hold of my family. We need to talk to them because, this is something that they're a family and they're close and they do every day. I was lucky enough to fly with two individuals who loved their career, retired, and are back as trainers and filling in open shifts. So it is amazing with the technology. I will just tell you now, the technology is amazing. And the pilot basically said over his 14-year career, only 4 people got away from him. So what they can see with that camera and how they can truly track down individuals at the safety of everybody on the ground is amazing. It's another tool of safety for everybody involved. So thank you for all who were involved in this incident. It's never anything anybody wants to see or hear about. A little bit of lighter news this Saturday over in Robla at the North Point Park. I want to thank our firefighters for coming out and grilling some hot dogs. We're having a community potluck and picnic. So I'm bringing the hot dogs with the firefighters, and the community's coming out to potluck and just enjoy the beginning of fall. And then on October 16th, the North Natomas Regional Park Master Plan is actually 24 years old, and probably about 20% has been implemented. So I am bringing the community together to say, what was done 24 years ago? Is it still relevant? What would we like to see if we are able to find funding? How do we want to develop the park? And last night up in the helicopter, being able to see the park from the sky was amazing, of how much good we can do for the region if we're able to develop the regional park. It's kind of exciting. And then for all of you, this is now a little heads up, October 18th, if you do not have on your calendar, council members, the High Water Jamboree is going to be at the North Natomas Regional Park. And if you want to get in a dump truck, see the earth mover, see what DOU does, see how our drones are used. It is an amazing resource and ability to come out and have kids check out firsthand, or even adults firsthand, what our city employees and our regional employees do to keep us safe from the high floodwaters that could be Sacramento, but for our levees and all the work of everybody who come together. So that's it.
Councilmember Jennings.
Thank you very much. I want to just thank each of my colleagues and the mayor for welcoming our sister city, Matsuyama, Japan, when they were here last week. We have been sister cities since 1981, 45 years. Phil Eisenberg and Mayor Nakamura from Matsuyama, Japan, signed the sister city agreement. And as is their custom, they believe in giving gifts to everyone that they come in contact with. And so on your tables today, you have a package that looks like this with a final gift from the mayor, Mayor Nushi, final gift to them thanking us for the hospitality that we provided while they were here. So if you would like to send a thank you note, contact my office and we'll give you the address on how to do that. But I want to thank each one of you for making their visit one that they will remember forever. Matsuyama, Japan, and sister city, Sacramento, our sister city.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Thank you, Councilmember Jennings, and we're very glad to participate that into our friends in Matsuyama. If you're watching, Sacramento e yokoso, Matsuyama, domo arigatou gozaimasu. We appreciate you being here. It was a welcome to say hello to them.
7 languages.
But first, so thank you there. First, I want to echo some of the concerns that Councilmember Vang had mentioned. I just want to say that for at least the last 10 years here, our Sacramento Police Department has done a lot of work to engage and communicate and build trust in the community. We had issues in 2015, 2016 about, and those issues of being able to build trust through communication, different languages, I think has helped served us well. And I would say that in our most recent community events on Stockton Boulevard and Fruit Ridge, there's a lot of respect for law enforcement. So I think when we miss the mark to communicate in this form, I think it erodes that trust. And so I want to echo what we can do to continue that effort. And I say that because my next request here is critical, because it does involve law enforcement. This is a request to the city manager through the police department and also our city attorney. Not only have we had incidents of people impersonating ICE agents, people impersonating law enforcement, police officers in the case of the Minnesota, shootings and murder of elected officials, but also the situation of people not knowing when a police official asks to stop them. That's a significant problem. I remember with both not only Chief Lester, but even prior Chief Hahn, we talked a lot about, if you see the blue badge, that's your police department, that's your support. And so we've done a lot of work to do that, to build that trust. And so to the request here, one, I'd like to know how our city will be responding to the recent law of SB 627 and addressing the issue of how if an ICE agent, Border Patrol, Homeland Security officer, or any federal official is in Sacramento, one, ensuring that the city manager is notified. Second, to respond to the concern of how does our citizens know that they are a legitimate agent? I think that is a significant concern. Identifying how we make sure that they're a legitimate agent and not even bounty hunter. So I want to make sure that those issues are resolved, because I do think that our city police officers have a clear responsibility to ensure that they're protecting our community here from from the unfortunate violations of their constitutional rights. So I want to figure out, make sure that how do we address that big piece there. And so I think that these two incidents, while they're separate, I think it goes back to if we want people to report crimes, if we want to be able to solve crimes, we have to make sure that our community has the full trust in being able to work with our department, and also that our department, when they go to if they engage with an ICE official, that their body cameras are on, so that when they identify that they are an actual ICE official, we know that. I think that's an important piece. So let me end with that request there, City Manager, and I would like to follow up in further detail, because it was a topic of significant conversation over the weekend. Let me start now by saying thank you again to our both police and fire again for I live not too far from that, and we heard the sirens. We could hear what was going on, and we're deeper into we're on the south side of Tahoe Park, not adjacent to the 50, but it was a significant issue. But if it wasn't for our first responders, both police and fire, to address an issue that on the 50 it's already a challenging situation, it could have been so much more worse. So thank you to Sac PD and Sac Fire on that. And also, Madam City Manager, I want to also give a special thank you to the bicycle unit, the Sacramento Police Department on Saturday evening, who helped shepherd about 120 members of a delegation from both Michoacan, Mexico, and Jalisco, Mexico, who came to visit Sacramento, and their experience with those officers, was amazing. So I wanted to, one, there was, as we do, we have a lot of people who are cycling and some without lights, and sometimes our cyclists get a little more, reckless than they should at times, and I'm one of those cargo bikers. But I do appreciate that our Sac Police bike unit was able to make sure that as they were walking through K Street and had a great experience all the way until they got to the Delta King. And then from that, I want to thank Delta over the Sacramento History Society, because it was a wonderful exhibit. We had Spanish translators talking about our Sacramento History Museum, and also, as the mayor sits on the 50% vote on the Crocker Art Museum, I want to thank the Crocker folks for also welcoming them at the Crocker. But they could not get to the Crocker if it wasn't for regional transit. And I want to thank both our chair, Councilmember Jennings, and his staff. Thank you, Councilmember Maple, as well, for that. But they were able to help us with getting public transit and showing them how they could get from the Capitol to the Crocker and have a wonderful experience there. All to say, they all want to come back and want to tell folks about how Sacramento is a place to visit. The only objection that they had at the time was that there were no hotels because of Aftershock and the Stevie Nicks concert. Mm-hmm. And so they were scattered all over.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. They love the buses. Oh, they love the buses. And they love the buses, and the air conditioning must have been going super hard that day, because they're like, we can't believe how cool these buses are. So they love the buses. Yeah. And so it was just a great, Sacramento stepped up and showed a great experience. And the mayor of the city of Morelia, as we both, they have already voted the intention to become a sister city. We voted on an intention, and they look forward to seeing our council there. But they do have a short video that they put together unprompted for us. And if the clerk could show it, that would be great. This is the mayor.
Me da mucho gusto enviar este mensaje con motivo del evento Raíces Monarca. Y quiero enviar un saludo muy especial a todas y todos los que hoy se reúnen en Sacramento para festejarlo. Este encuentro refleja la fuerza de nuestra identidad, el orgullo de nuestras raíces y la unión de nuestra comunidad migrante. Quiero enviar un gran saludo a mi amigo el alcalde de Sacramento, Kevin McCarthy, también al concejal Eric Guerra, a Arnulfo de la Casa Morelia en Sacramento y a Tonatiu, el cónsul de México en Sacramento. Y ahora más que nunca, con esta cercanía que propicia el vuelo Morelia-Sacramento. Así estamos cada vez más cerca, las familias, el poder hacer turismo en ambos lugares y lazos de amistad con Sacramento. Les quiero compartir que estamos trabajando para consolidar el hermanamiento entre estas dos maravillosas ciudades, Sacramento y Morelia. Gracias a todos ustedes por no olvidar sus raíces. Deben de saber que nosotros tampoco los olvidamos. Quiero aprovechar también para invitarlos a todos a Morelia. Recuerden que es su casa, es su tierra, y con ustedes Morelia brilla más.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. But yeah, they are excited for this collaboration, and they were just very impressed with our city, and also the music and the food scene. Everything was, I think, Sacramento stepped up on this weekend. So we look forward to being there with you.
Yes, and we look forward to taking a delegation down there. But I just want to note, you mentioned earlier, it was a big weekend in Sacramento. We had 160,000. I know the vice mayor left. She meant it was 100,000, but 160,000 people went to the music festival over 4 days and brought in over $30 million to the economy here. So it went off without a hitch, and we're excited to have them back for the 13th year and looking to do bigger and better next year. We're looking for ideas to have the second festival again. But we had, as you mentioned, the Stevie Nicks concert downtown. We had a big soccer match out at Cal Expo, and it just shows that Sacramento can host and succeed with multiple events at the same time. So this is a big part of our city, and it makes it a fun city, but also brings in revenue so we can address Pete's PowerPoint from an hour ago about our budget deficit. So with that, thanks for everybody who put those events on, especially to the Danny Weimer Presents crew who did an outstanding job again here for the 13th year. And yes, Councilmember Maple and Guerra, we were all riveted last night by that helicopter crash. Our girls heard it from their house where they're at just after their cheer practice. And it was something that we're very grateful that nobody was injured and hurt. And I thank our first responders, but also the 15 people that stepped up, and we're going to try to recognize if we can find them in the coming weeks as well. So thank you, and with that, we're adjourned. Oh, excuse me.
I have two public comments for matters not on the agenda, Junior Goris and Bill Alayo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm going to amend my comments because I think Councilmember Vang kind of captured it. So just to make it to save time, the appearance of the vehicles, and you saw the pictures, they speak volumes. And we've all witnessed the posture of the federal government today. And our own South Sacramento, as you know, was a target of a recent ICE raid at a local Home Depot with families being separated and unnecessary fear being injected into our communities. As a community president, my main concern, just like you all, is the protection of my community. I immediately activated our neighborhood mechanisms, texting our text chain, contacting North Cal Resist, and contacting our District 8 office about possible ICE operations in the area. Neighbors were informed to stay home and not to open doors to anyone unknown until we knew what was happening. Our fantastic city council member arrived on scene within minutes and without hesitation approached a group of individuals with weapons and asked them, what were you doing in our neighborhood? We were relieved to find out that it was the Sacramento Police Department SWAT operation, doing a training exercise and not an ICE operation. I want to emphasize that we do love our officers in the Sacramento Police Department. We want them all well-trained and supported for their important work. The association has a fantastic relationship with the department, and we want to continue our partnership. Chief Lester and Captain Sirachi have been accessible and wonderful in supporting our community. I am here today to respectfully request that the police department review its internal protocols for police training in residential neighborhoods. While the builder of our neighborhood knew of the training, that doesn't always translate to residents being informed. I would also like for those protocols to include communication with your offices, as you're the first access point of information to residents. Lastly, please have PD reach out to neighborhood associations affected. A lot of panic could have been avoided with some communication. Again, we love our police department. This is not an attempt for negative criticism, but an opportunity to strengthen our partnership. We live in very...
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Bill Aleo.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Aleo. I live on Southland Park Drive. I'm retired. I know some of you from prior days and years, and I'm still a Raiders fan, Mr. Jennings, after all this since 1969. This is about dog parks, and you may have heard this before, and I know there's supposed to be a new dog park, but I was at Lynn Roby Dog Park this morning. I used Belle Coolidge near my house, that dog park. The Sierra 2 dog park, which wasn't a real dog park, I realized that. That's where I started taking my dog. When I got one, I didn't know it was non-official. I understand the need to make it a real soccer field, and there were neighbor complaints. But I understand that Lamb Park may be the next dog park. Going to Belle Coolidge is a cheap alternative and get it done fast. And you may have heard this before. Move the fence out towards Fruit Ridge Road. There's no use for that property. It's flat so people can actually move their dogs instead of hills. And elderly people, which I'm becoming one of these days, so I can move around those hills, like it flat. So here, move the fence out. You can use the existing fence if you really want to go for it. Move towards Southland Park to the west a little bit, and you capture more mounds. But that's a fast, simple way to get a much bigger, 2 or 3 times the size of a dog park you have now, without doing anything expensive or riling upset people in Curtis Park or Land Park. So Land Park I go to all the time too, but not for the dogs. But there's a lot going on in that park. So I don't know what the status of that is. Normally, as someone who's worked with cities and counties my whole life, I would have investigated with the people who are working on the plan, find out what's the status of the new dog. I decided to come here one day and start my new career as a gadfly. No, I'm not going to be a gadfly before the city council. I'm not a registered lobbyist anymore. I was, but thank you for your attention, and I hope we get a dog park soon, and maybe a cheap one at Belle Coolidge. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Mayor, I have no more business to come before the council.
Okay, thank you. With that, we're adjourned.